Hey, loves, it's Janelle, the relationship coach behind The Successful Invisible. And let's jump into this episode of Response and React. So, all right, lately or recently, Mario really told on himself without even meaning to. His conversation with Cam Newton was supposed to be a simple interview, but the moment he was asked whether he has an issue with black women, the way he verbally said no while his body screamed absolutely, it revealed more than he intended. And honestly, this is the exact problem so many black women face in dating. Men who claim us selectively, love us conditionally, and talk around the truth instead of standing in it. Today, we're unpacking the interview, the psychology, the trauma, the patterns, and why black women are saying, baby, keep that energy over there. If you're tired of men weaponizing their mother wounds, hiding behind preferences, or acting like accountability is oppression, then yes, this conversation is for you. Let's talk about it.
And I'm going to have to agree and say, I like this man better when he didn't speak. So Mario goes on to Cam Newton's podcast. It just dropped today, I believe. I'm seeing clips all over the place. But this one clip, when of course, here we go. Once again, a black man has to be asked if he likes, loves, and values black women. And the way he said a whole lot of nothing and circled around that yes or no question. Just simply put, you don't fuck with black women. You don't fuck with black women because of your childhood trauma with your mother. And I'm not going to say that that trauma is not valid and it's not understandable, but you could have just simply said that. Because what he had to say in the clip was wild. He said, I like the ones that I give a fuck about, pretty much. The ones that matter, the ones that matter to me, like my grandmother, and the ones that I've dated, and this person, and that very selective with the black women who he chooses to respect, value, and give a fuck about that's what I got from what he was saying in that very long-winded response. Then he went into his issues and his trauma and relationships and how he sees relationships and how he's never going to get married, at least not right now, blase, blase, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I am happy that Mario is with his Mexican girlfriend, and she is who he chose to be his baby mother. And he is choosing to stay the fuck away from black women. Once again, we are safe. But all that just to be selective, all that just to say, nah, I don't really fuck with them because I have issues with them. Because sitting there on that podcast saying, the ones that matter to me, the ones that matter to me, that was crazy.
What is your relationship like with black women? Do you have anything against black women?
No, sir. Amen. No, sir, I don't. Never have.
What is your relationship like with black women?
That's a great question. The ones that matter to me, my grandmother, my mother, my family members, my aunts, my few of the black women that I have dated in the past, my relationship with them were all different. I can't compare one to the other. I can say that my grandmother was my hero. She was the contrast in my life when it came to understanding the importance of a black woman, the strength of a black woman, the soul of a black woman, the relationship that a black woman could have with God that was unwavering. Though she was used so much for her strength, abused for her strength, she never wavered in her character.
All right, a brief intermission from all of this Brene stuff that's happening. Y'all seen that Mario was in the news, or not in the news, in the TikTok news about his interview with Cam Newton. I find it to be disheartening that all of this stuff is coming out. 2025 is absolutely the year of exposure, and we get to see people for who they truly are. I have always admired Mario. I am a stan. In my mind, that's my husband, right? But I've always admired him because he's been in the industry for so long and he has had no scandals, no nothing that comes up outside of the situation with his mom. His mama was an addict. They had a tumultuous relationship. He was trying to help her. And of course, she does what addicts do, all the way till it escalated to the point of her passing away. I genuinely feel like he never got the closure that he needed from her, despite him saying that he's been in therapy, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. But his interview shows you that he has beef with black women. I could tell that he was not interested really in black women when I seen the picture, I believe it was on Instagram, where he was soft launching somebody and the hand was a fair skinned hand. I chucked it up to cool. Maybe she's light skinned, but I didn't fully think that. But now seeing that his baby mama is a Mexican woman, she's still a brown woman, but she's not a black woman. And pair that with the fact that he told Cam Newton that no, he don't have, and he shook his head just like this. No, he don't have no issues with black women. That's very telling. It's very telling. And you can only sit and watch and pay attention to all of these little details and make your thought and your opinion based on that. So it's truly disheartening because I would have never thought that he would be one of those. But it just comes down to the fact that he needs some really deep and intensive therapy because it's not like you can solve anything because his mama is gone. But he has to reconcile all that stuff within himself and basically leave us out the chat if you don't want us, plain and simple. All right, my sleepy ramble. I'll be back later to talk more about Brene and all them because I really hope this case is over today.
I don't know much about body language, but in that interview with Mario, when he was asked, does he have a problem with black women? His response was, no, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, 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 sir. No, I don't. No, no, no. Why would you shake in your head yes if you meant no? Bruh, you need therapy. Because it's giving, you definitely got a problem with black women. I don't know your life story, and I'm not even judging you, but you have a problem with black women. Because your body language said, yes, I do. I do have a problem with black women, really, really bad. And that just sucks for you, because black women are the most, I'm not going to even start bragging about black women, because this video would be 100 minutes long. But bro, if you sitting up there saying no, but your body in your head is saying yes, the answer is yes. And I'm no body language expert, but this means yes to me. I don't care if you're saying no. You said yes with your body.
So Cam Newton asked Mario, do you have anything against black women? Mario says through his mouth, he says, no, sir. No, I don't. Lied straight through his teeth. But his body said something different. When he said, no, sir, he said, no, sir. No, sir. He didn't say, no, sir. No, sir. I do not have anything against black women. He said, no, sir. That's his subconscious speaking through his body. Your body won't lie. Your body will not lie. You can say anything out your mouth. You can say anything you want out your mouth. But your body is always going to tell the truth. It's always going to tell the truth. I learned this in nonverbal communication analysis and behavioral profiling. Your body speaks more than your words do. So he said no, but his body said yes. That brother needs to heal. He needs to fucking heal. He spoke about going to therapy some years ago and, working on himself, but I think he needs to go back. I think he needs to go back because what the fuck was that? And then on top of that, he says his relationship with black women is evolving. Evolving? It should have already been evolved. That's how you know he has a issue or has had issues with black women in the past. You know, the whole thing with his mom, you know, the stuff, the trauma he done, you know, been through with dealing with his mama and all of that. And then absentee father. And he got a lot of shit that I don't really think he's truly healed from. That brother got a lot of shit going on, and his body told the truth. His body told the truth, what his words wouldn't. And it's like, bro, we know you have a problem with black women. We know this. So for him to say he doesn't understand what that means, it's like, bro, where have you been? I know where you've been. You've been knee deep in some Neanderthal vagina. That's why you don't understand shit. That's why you don't understand shit.
Well, the colorist cops and the preference police have issued a warrant on Mario. The R&B star took to social media this week to sound off after he received comments accusing him of not liking black women and basically saying black women aren't loved. Mario took to his Instagram story writing, "I'm so tired of the black women slander in the comments about how I don't like black women and how black women aren't loved. If you're making these comments, I'm convinced you have a problem with black women. Black women are loved and needed." The 39-year-old Just a Friend singer is currently dating Esmeralda Rios, and in August, he announced that they're expecting their first child together. He shared a sweet photo of his hand resting on her baby bump, and the caption read, "It's a whole universe in there. I can't wait." Now, during a recent interview on The Morning Hustle, Mario accidentally revealed the gender of his forthcoming bundle of joy.
So did y'all talk about names already?
We got some names in the hat. I'm waiting to see the you know, you can see the ultrasound.
Yeah.
Because that's what's gonna give me a real
Like the
understanding of what.
yeah.
Okay, what do he look like? Like he look more like me. He look more like her. Like what's the vibe? Like
So we
just
know it's
getting
gonna be a
everything.
boy because you're saying he.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Now, Mario isn't the only R&B star facing colorist allegations. I previously reported colorist cops swooped down on Chris Brown and pissed him off so bad he packed up his things and he left social media. Deuces! You can get the full scoop on that story at icecreamconvos.com. Friends, drop down in the comments below and let me know, do you think Mario is being unfairly targeted, or does the truth hurt? I look forward to reading your comments on this. Look, at the end of the day gon' end. Do we really care who someone chooses to love, date, or procreate with? Be sure to connect with me for more delicious scoops of entertainment and celebrity news, and have a great day. Bye!
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube, and that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. So there are 5 main points that I want to bring up that I observed from a coaching lens, a relationship coaching lens, in this podcast interview, and what lessons that any woman can take from it. Number 1, Mario's verbal answer said no, but his body language said yes. His mouth denied having issues with black women, but his nonverbal cues, head nodding yes, tense posture, avoidance, told the truth. So the coaching lesson here is believe patterns, not performances. When a man's words and body aren't aligned, trust the body. Mixed signals are already a signal. A partner who is emotionally safe shows internal coherence. Their words, action, tone, and energy all match. So if any man you are talking to or dating or in some phase with him and getting to know him, and you notice a disconnect or a dissonance, sis, trust your gut, because his pattern is trying to reveal himself and his performance is trying to disguise the pattern. So pay attention to the pattern. Second thing I noticed is his relationship with black women is selective and limited. He only values the black women he personally benefits from. His grandmother, mother, a few exes. This signals conditional regard. So the coaching lesson here is love is not real when it's selective, situational, or self-serving. Don't invest in a man who respects women based on proximity or utility. Healthy men respect all women, not just the ones they deem worthy. This is really important to discuss early on even in the talking phase. You need to get a clear view how that man that you're getting to know really sees women, because his disregard or dismissal of women outside of those in his personal sphere can end up causing you harm or worse. Do not dismiss that. That's not a little thing. That's very important. So the next point I really wanted to make here is his unresolved mother trauma is driving his adult choices. So his strained childhood, unhealed mother wound, and a lack of closure are showing up as avoidance, distrust, and defensiveness toward black women. So if you remember when Mario came out in the early 2000s, he was often in kind of the blogs at the time. Social media then was not what it is today. And there were a lot of things going on with his mom. You can Google, I'm not about to spend too much time on that. But there were a lot of things that he had dissonance or disconnection with his mom. And he is 39 years old at this point. And that trauma being unresolved, at what point is it his responsibility to go seek the help he needs to seek out to resolve those? He is at a big age. He is grown. So when you notice this in men that you're dating, pay attention. So a man who hasn't healed his mother wound will make every woman pay for it. You can't empathize with his story, but you can't fix it. Like, you definitely can empathize with it, but you can't fix it. Prioritize men who have done or are actively doing deep emotional work. Just a tip, meet him at his finish line. When he's really in the trenches doing the work, he is not emotionally available, likely to date, not seriously anyway. So just be mindful of that and pay attention. Make sure he's doing the work or has done the work, and he's pretty far along on his journey of doing that work or already at the finish line. And finish line is subjective. You never really finish, but you can make leaps and bounds of progress, of true internal change about that feeling. So don't try to meet a man at the beginning when he hasn't started or has just started. He is still too far gone about his trauma with his mom or his maternal figures in his life. So the next point I want to bring up is his dating patterns reflect avoidance, not preference. The non-black partner, the tone of defensiveness, the inability to affirm black women, all of this signals avoidance rooted in unhealed pain, not mere preferences. And I always say this, if your preferences have to be an only, it's not a preference, it's a prejudice. So men use the word preferences and don't really understand what it means. Lesson here is a man who avoids what he hasn't healed will project, blame, and deflect. Don't internalize his distance as judgment of your self-worth. It's a reflection of where he is emotionally and what he cannot hold. Once again, this is a man who has avoided the work, has not done the work at all, or is very early on in his journey. He is not at the place in terms of maturity, especially emotionally, to be a good partner to anyone. Let that man go. Leave that man alone. Last point that I wanted to bring out from this. His need to over-explain instead of answer directly, that's a red flag. When asked a yes-no question, he monologued, circled, dodged, and minimized all signs of discomfort, shame, or hidden bias. Men do this a lot, especially talking to them face to face. I would say online, sometimes you get people being a little more direct, especially men, if they can be rude, they're likely to do it more so online. But the way Mario kind of did that circle jerk and answering the question, that's very common when you're in face-to-face discussions. If this happens to you, pay attention. Clarity is a form of emotional safety. Remember, evasion is a form of emotional chaos. Do not deal with men who are evasive. Choose men who can answer direct questions with direct truth. Emotional maturity looks like honesty without confusion, deflection, or theatrics. Now, let me be clear on this. This does not mean someone is rude, vulgar, and nasty. There are adults out here who try to weaponize I'm just being honest as a means to just be assholes. Let's just keep it a being. And that is not what this is about. Clarity and honesty always needs to be wrapped in empathy, understanding, and the temperature of the environment, okay? And that shows and reflects emotional intelligence in a lot of ways. So do not mistake somebody being honest and allow them to use that as a shield to be nasty, vulgar, inconsiderate. That's not what that is. So let me know your thoughts below, what you thought of this interview, and if you have ever come across a guy who has not done his work yet and he is in active avoidance of doing it. At the end of the day, sis, the lesson is simple. Watch what a man's body, patterns, and choices say, not just his mouth. Mario's interview wasn't shocking because it was new. It was shocking because it confirmed what so many black women already knew. Some men only show love in controlled doses. Some men only respect, air quotes, the black women they personally benefit from. And some men are still fighting battles with their mothers that they project onto every woman who comes after her. But here's the good news. You don't have to internalize any of that. His unhealed wounds are not your burden. His confusion is not your assignment. And his preferences, baby, they're not a reflection of your worth. They're a reflection of his limitations. Protect your spirit, protect your confidence, and protect your peace. And remember, the right man won't need a podcast mic, a long explanation, or a therapy session to love you clearly. He'll just show up, healed, present, and ready. That does not mean perfect, to be clear. If this resonated, drop your thoughts below, share with a friend, and join me on my coffee channel where I have exclusive coaching tools, etc., to help you for deeper dating, self-worth coaching conversations, and so much more. Your evolution starts now.